Every night is the Rangers Journal night.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening when you are watching this. You are watching the Rangers Journal. My name is Doug, and this is the lowdown on our upcoming Europa League game against Tottenham Hotspur. This comes into a big week with two of the biggest games in the calendar so far. One an absolute must-win, and one I think that we can just be in enjoyment of the ride and enjoy the experience and hopefully give a good account of ourselves. We go into the Tottenham game on the back of a decent Europa League campaign thus far, with good wins against Malmo away and against a draw against Olympiacos, as well as a win against Nice in our most recent match, which sets us up points-wise in a good place for qualification going into these two games against the English pair of Tottenham and Man United, as well as having a winnable tie, in my opinion, against Union St-Gilloise at the end, which I think will hopefully see us qualify into the next round. How well we do, though, could rely on if we're able to get any points out of these two matches, which I do believe we're capable of doing, and we'll have a little discussion about how we think we can do that. Of course, I think the manager's going to have to take into consideration the double header, and his selection is going to have to take into consideration what he wants to do against the absolute must-win game against Celtic at the weekend when he goes into the League Cup final. He's yet to hit a dent on Celtic, and so this is going to be a big game, and it's a must-win, defending our title in that respect. But before that, we will have a lowdown on Celtic slightly later in the week. But for now, we're going to focus on Tottenham Hotspur. Okay, so going into this game, as I say, Rangers have had a good run of form since the 4-1 defeat to Nice. We're on 4 victories in a row, having beaten St Johnstone, Kilmarnock and Ross County in the league. Tottenham have been a little bit more patchy. Their last Europa League game, it was a 2-2 draw against Roma, which they let slip near the end. They've then drawn with Fulham in the league, lost to Bournemouth, and then lost to Chelsea at the weekend, having been 2-0 up in that game early doors, so letting another victory slip away from them. You can see in the Europa League table placings, we're actually back-to-back in 8th and 9th. Rangers picked Spurs to 8th by virtue of goal difference. We've scored more goals than them, while both of us having lost the same amount in 6. So both sitting 10 points. We could come out of this, as I say, retaining a high place if we're able to get something decent in the game. If you're looking for signs that we might be able to do well, then don't look at our head-to-head, however, as it doesn't make for great reading. We have a very short history against Tottenham. We played them in the Cup Winners' Cup in 1962 on the 11th of December and 31st of October. I forgot to change the date there on one of the slides. Excuse me. They beat us 5-2 and then 3-2 in those the two legs of that tie. And then more recently in 2022, we did have a friendly at Ibrox. That Spurs unfortunately came out 2-1 victors in. So, to say, not the greatest of history, so hopefully we can turn that around in this more competitive match. So what can we expect from Tottenham and they come to Ibrox? Spurs play in a 4-3-3 formation that is fairly malleable in terms of the movement and positioning of the players. Their full-backs push very high up the field and invert to create triangles that they can play from, unlike many teams that when playing from the back and moving out to the wings, they will just have the 2 back using the goalkeeper and often play some more centrally before pushing out wide and often out wide to those full-backs who then push on and provide the width in addition to their attacking 3. It's a less control-based system than a lot of the top teams currently play, so if you're Man City or Liverpool, who will try and control the possession. Tottenham really just want to score goals, and that's what they do. They push to score goals, overloading the midfields with one of the most dynamic attacks in world football at the moment. They've got a lot of really creative and good attacking players, including I consider him world-class in Heung-min Son, their captain. This, however, does mean that they do leave space in defence. They are prone to mistakes as well, which we saw at the game against Chelsea, where they've got quite a lot of young players at the back there who can be a wee bit naive in the tackle. So there can be errors to be capitalised on and space to be found on the counter-attack. And they do give away chances, and that could be and probably will be our best chance of getting goals out of this game on the counter or taking up or making them make mistakes. In regard to danger men, obviously talked about Heung-min Son. He's arguably my favourite non-Rangers player in world football. A very talented footballer, plays the game with a lot of joy, and as I say, he's just a really excellent player. Doesn't always get the plaudits that I think he deserves due to the fact he plays at Tottenham and hasn't won as much as he could have maybe had he played elsewhere. But I think Son is a player that could walk into practically any team on the planet, and if not improve, then certainly would add something to them. He's got 3 goals and 4 assists this season. He did have a period out injury. 23 chances created, long ball accuracy and passing accuracy is of 84%. So offers a lot to the team, as well as being obviously their captain now since the departure of Harry Kane in the summer. But the other player I'm highlighting that's really been popping off for them this season is Brennan Johnson, whom Tottenham brought in. He's got 6 goals in the Premier League, I believe about 12 or so in total across all competitions. Created 10 chances, 11 shots on targets. He's got touches in the opposition box at 87, tackles 115, and duels 1 just over half. He's been, as I say, a bright spark in the Tottenham attack, and has provided a lot of goals coming in, making late back post runs, not too dissimilar to the types that Tavernier often makes for ourselves. And is someone that will need to be watched if he makes this game, although I have heard he is a potential doubt due to illness. Tottenham do have quite a few injuries coming into this game, including their goalkeeper and a number of their centre-backs, which could also help in terms of our look to get something out of this game. There's a chance that they'll rotate in the Europa League as well. They'll probably view us as a team that they should be beating, and thus they maybe rotate out some other players. And get some players some minutes due to, as I say, the injuries that we have, and that, as I say, could be a good way for us to get into the game if these players are not quite up to speed coming in, or indeed maybe less experienced, depending on who they decide to go with. On the subject of deciding who to go with is, of course, the Rangers lineup. The biggest conundrum facing the manager for this game is not so much this game itself, but what he wants to do in this game in relation to the game on Sunday against Celtic. The Celtic game is an absolute must-win, and so he will need to make some decisions in that regard. 2 decisions are made for him in regards that Yanis Hadji and Danilo are not eligible for the Europa League, so they cannot play in this match. So that may increase the chances of them playing on the weekend. I do think Danilo should start against Celtic. I think his movement could be dangerous. And having him come in fresh to start that game, I think, is a bonus. Hadji, I think, divides opinions slightly more. I think that he could offer an important level of guile in terms of his passing to help break the lines at Celtic. It's just whether he would have the industry and the tackling that might be needed to help prevent their midfield overload that has been a problem in games past. I think potentially we bring in Proper for this game. He's more suited to the European style of matches and the way that Tottenham will play. And that's largely, again, with an eye on Celtic. I think Balogun and Suter have formed an excellent partnership, and we want to keep Balogun available and fit for that game at the weekend. So I would be taking him out to keep him safe for that, as Balogun is a player who, he really understands the importance of that game, and I think his level of performance demands that he plays in that. I'd also, with consideration for Tottenham's attacking prowess, I've put Yilmaz in here, starting in the attacking position, just to give us a little bit more defensive solidity, and to maybe protect some of our more attacking players to keep them for the weekend. I would bring him in. Egerman is my preferred choice up front. You could argue to save him, but I think he might do better due to his inexperience, just keeping his run in the team. If you play Dessers, I think we could struggle in terms of the lack of hold-up. and lack of speed, whereas Sigman, I think, on both accounts, would provide that with aplomb and potentially make the most of chances on top of mistakes. We saw him pounce on mistakes in the game against Nice, and he could do the same against Tottenham as well. There's then the real big decision that I know that the majority will disagree with me, which is I'm playing Sterling in this game to save Tavernier specifically for the Celtic match, which I know will horror a lot of people. Ultimately, though, I think that we can nullify the threats on the right-hand side. We have done before in certain games, and I think particularly with Connor Barron and Raskin in the form that they are, we have the ability to do that while keeping Tavernier available for what he would bring to our creative play and our attack, which I'm still not convinced has got enough moving forward without him. I feel like I noticed the drop off when Tavernier's not there or when not playing at his best, and now that he's back in form, he's an important player in that regard. A lot of people will disagree with that and will want to see him play tonight and Sterling play at the weekend, and I totally understand the reasons for that. But I personally think that Maida causes Sterling just as much trouble, and so on that basis, if in my system I'm looking to nullify him using parts of my defensive midfield, as I say, I gain more attacking from Tavernier than I do from Sterling. And in a game that we have to win, that's why I'm going in that direction. But feel free to roast me in the comments for that one. I know many will. I look forward to seeing Curry's horrendous response, whatever it may be, if he sees this. But that's my choice for this 11, along with the thoughts of the weekend, which I'll go into in more detail in the lowdown later this week. So finally, I've got to pick our game changer for this match. I've picked John Suter. I think our defence is going to be incredibly important when playing Tottenham, same as it will against Celtic. But in particular, I think John Suter's really come into his own this season. He's played regularly, and with that regularity, he's really starting to come into the role of a Rangers defender. As I say, he's formed an excellent combination with Balogun that I think is our undisputed top choice for centre backs. You can see their tackles. He's winning 75% of his tackles, 65% of his ground duels, 64% of his aerial duels. He's gotten 40 recoveries in the season so far, and his touches over 1,000 is one of the highest. The pass accuracy of 91. He does like to break the lines occasionally and come forward with the ball, which I like. But it is those defensive attributes that are really winning him over with a lot of fans, I think. And against, again, the quality that we will face against Tottenham, our defence being on top form is an absolute must, and John Suter will be a big part of that if that's going to be the case. So that was your lowdown on Tottenham for today. As I say, a big match, but one I think we should go into looking to enjoy. The result, not the be-all and end-all, given our current position. We do obviously want to make a good account of ourselves at Ibrox with the atmosphere that it can provide. We can obviously pull off great victories as we have done in the past, and this is no different. There is, I think, in Tottenham, as mistakes in their defence and some naivety in terms of being left over, spaces being left over. So there is the potential to hurt them if we are able to take our chances and keep things shut. It will be difficult to keep things shut completely and stop them from scoring, given the talent that they have up front. But as I say, we do have some decent defenders at the moment, and the team is playing well, so they should go into this game with confidence, looking to test themselves, looking to enjoy the match and the atmosphere. So, as I say, all that being there, I think this is a game for us to go into and enjoy. There's that little extra bit of pageantry there with obviously the return of Postecoglou as manager. I know some people are looking forward to that. Some people don't really care either way, but it does add that little extra spice to the whole affair nonetheless. As I say, I'll be back probably on either Friday evening or Saturday afternoon with the lowdown on the game for Celtic, so do stay tuned for that. We've got both pre and post matches for both the games coming up. I'm definitely going to be appearing in the Celtic ones. So I will see you again then. So keep watching us on the Rangers Journal, because every night is Rangers Journal night. Thank you. Goodbye.